All right, so we have an issue with our app performance. I wanted to share very openly about what's happening, and I thought that maybe it would be useful for some of you. So, this topic of app performance is kind of new to me. I used to work for a couple of other companies that had different scale, and this topic of performance was mostly figured out. We would have, occasional issues, like when I work for e-commerce, there would be peak of traffic on Black Friday, or when I work for a mobile company, we would have peak of signups when we would run some TV advertisings. But really having to deal with this problem from the ground up is something I've never experimented before. At June, we're an early stage startup. We really have to deal with everything ourselves. And so we're going through this hardship at the moment. And talking with other startups, I realized that it's a very common problem. We're not the only one to have it. So I wanted to be very open, and I wanted to share where we're at, what we're doing, and see if that resonates with some of you. Okay, so let's crack on. So in short, we are receiving a lot more data than before. So this is the volume of data we're currently receiving on June. What you can tell is we receive roughly 20 to 25 million lines of data on our database every day, which represents roughly 1 million lines every hour. And so, I've been speaking for like a minute or so. We're already talking about thousands of lines being written as I'm currently speaking, if not more. And so this is due to two things. More people are onboarding on June at the moment, and larger companies are also joining, sending us a lot more data. And so in the past, we've kind of, postpone a little bit the work we had to do on our infrastructure, just because we're a startup, we have to prioritize what we're currently doing. But recently they've had some bottlenecks and some very, very slow queries to run. And so kind of the realization we had was there was no point at all in building features on our product if the product was not loading. Like, people would not experiment our product at all. So we had to catch up and put some effort to figure things out, and this is what we're going after this day. All right, so about the problem. So the problem precisely is that when you open our product, things can take a lot of time to load. And I want to be very transparent about on numbers. So this is our numbers extracted from Datadog, the APM we use. Basically what happened is that for some section of the product, the loading time can be pretty high. So here what you see is the number of seconds that it takes to load one of the graph in June. We have a SLA of 5 seconds. We want every single graph in June to load in less than 5 seconds. Currently, when it's green, it's below that. When it's red, it's above. And what you can tell is that in the last couple of days, there has been some insight that took way too long to load. If you look at the left side, which is the worst insight computed by companies, you can really tell that sometimes it's extremely slow, and this is not acceptable. No one is going to ever wait for 13 seconds or even worse, 51 seconds. So what we set ourselves is a single goal. This is how we work as a company. We always set up one single goal, which is very easy to remember. And in our experience, it has proven to be an amazing way to reach this goal, just because we can't hide behind the fluffy, lagging metric or stuff like that. How did we come up with these goals? Well, it's very, very subjective. Everyone with loading time will come up with something different. So how did we come up with these 5 seconds? I think, again, it depends on many things. It depends on your industry. There are some industries where taking some time is acceptable. For instance, in the business intelligence space, if you wait more than 5 seconds, usually it's fine. In the analytics space, you expect things to be a lot faster. Since we're kind of in between these two spaces, we're kind of leaning toward the most demanding space, which is the analytics space. And so we're trying to be extremely fast and really deliver that, one of a kind, amazing and delightful analytics experience. There is this one analysis that I really love from Google that they published a couple of years ago. They realized that the bounce rate of the website would increase by 30% every 2 seconds. While this metric was initially computed for marketing website and not really product, I think it's a really great analysis out there that Google put to actually teach us how reluctant people are to loading time these days. And so we use that metric as the way to really push ourselves to get beyond the line. How did we solve that? This part is a little bit more technical, but maybe relevant for you if you're building some data-intensive applications. So initially what we realized is that when a lot of people were opening June, we were sending a lot of requests concurrently to a data warehouse called ClickHouse, and this was eating all the memory that we had with them. So we tried to put some limits in the term of how many requests could be made at the same time, but we soon realized that these limits were not applied by our provider, and kind of went through nevertheless, and we're still creating the memory to be consumed. When we realized that this approach didn't work, we went for a top-down approach. So we introduced two novelties that were supposed to limit the numbers of queries that were sent to our warehouse. First, we introduced caching, meaning that we were loading less things and using the cache that we had in memory to actually show the numbers that were still relevant. The second piece is that we limited the number of time people could refresh the data and introduce a delay between which they could refresh their data. This did lead to reduce the number of queries that were sent to warehouse, but it didn't solve the main problem that our queries were running slow when you had a very heavy set of data to run. This is about when we started the third chapter of optimization, which actually consisted in pre-computing the graph ahead of people actually using Joon. So we actually started to compute analysis ahead of people using the product on a regular basis. And we started also to invest some time to optimize our queries and our database schema. So again, if you've been with us so far and if the app has been a bit slow, first, I really apologize for that. It should be fixed very soon, if not already. We really want to make sure that we deliver this top-notch, best-in-class, world-class analytics experience and really beyond anything you've seen in the analytics space. So in the coming months, we're dedicating 50% of our resources to the performance of the app to make sure that every single graph loads in less than 5 seconds. And we're dedicating the rest of our resources to add in more flexibility in the product so that if you have more edge cases or other questions you want to answer using your favorite analytics, you can start to do it and you don't have to switch to a BI tool or something like that. So we're massively dedicated to this topic at the moment. And again, thanks so much if you watch this video till the end. It means a lot. Thanks so much for using Joon if you are using it, or maybe considering using it if you are. And until I see you next time, thank you so much for listening, and hope there was some nuggets of value in this video that maybe will help you also figure out some of the performance issues you may have with your product too. Thank you so much. Have a great summer. Talk soon. Bye.